Nobody wants to admit this, but some of our habits are a product of our past experiences, especially bad ones. The way we think, react, and even handle simple situations can be shaped by things we've been through, sometimes without us even realizing it. And if you've ever been tangled up with a narcissist, chances are you've picked up certain habits that still linger long after they're gone. Today, we'll talk about the 5 everyday habits that reveal you were a victim of narcissistic abuse. Are you ready for number 1? You check your phone for bad news first thing in the morning. For some narcissistic abuse victims, their day starts with anxiety instead of excitement. If the first thing you do in the morning is to check your phone for signs of trouble, you're doing a survival reflex. Narcissistic abuse rewires your brain to expect chaos at any moment. You've spent so much time walking on eggshells that your nervous system stays on high alert, even when the danger is gone. That's why your first instinct isn't to breathe in the new day. It's to scan for threats, just in case. This habit isn't about curiosity, it's about control. When you've lived in an unpredictable environment, knowing bad news ahead of time feels like a way to brace yourself. But constant vigilance doesn't prevent disaster. It just keeps you stuck in a loop of stress. Psychologist Dr. Rick Hansen says, "The brain is like Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive ones. That means, unless you actively shift your focus, your mind will keep looking for problems even when there aren't any. So instead of checking for bad news, try something different. Read something inspiring, stretch, or just sit with your coffee. The world will still be there, but you'll be meeting it on your terms." Let's talk about number 2. You twist and turn on your bed at night for long hours before falling asleep. If you spend hours lying in bed, reliving past arguments, second-guessing your choices, or bracing for imaginary conflicts, it's not insomnia. It's your nervous system stuck in survival mode. Narcissistic abuse conditions you to expect emotional ambushes, even in moments that should be peaceful. Dr. Peter Levine, a trauma expert and author of Waking the Tiger, explains that trauma isn't just in the past. It lingers in the body, keeping you trapped in a cycle of hyper-awareness. That's why your brain won't rest. It's been trained to anticipate danger, even when none is present. Your body doesn't just forget years of manipulation overnight. When someone constantly gaslights you, shifts blame, or makes you doubt your reality, your mind stays wired to defend itself, even when there's no longer a battle to fight. Dr. Caroline Leaf, a cognitive neuroscientist, states that thought patterns shaped by trauma can keep the brain in a loop of stress, making it hard to turn off at night. This is why falling asleep feels like an impossible task. Your brain is still trying to untangle years of confusion. The first step to healing? Realizing that you don't need to keep replaying the past to protect yourself. Peace isn't something you have to earn. It's something you are allowed to claim. Let's move on to number 3. You frequently wake up at dawn after a nightmare. Why does your mind keep replaying a movie you never wanted to star in? Waking up at dawn, heart racing after another nightmare, isn't just bad luck. It's your brain trying to process what it went through. Narcissistic abuse traps you in a cycle of fear, doubt, and emotional exhaustion. And even when you escape, your subconscious doesn't just forget. According to Dr. Judith Herman, author of Trauma and Recovery, trauma survivors relive their experiences not because they want to, but because their minds are struggling to make sense of them. Your nightmares aren't random. They're echoes of the manipulation, gaslighting, and emotional chaos you endured. And waking up at dawn, that's your nervous system still standing guard as if danger might walk through the door at any moment. This habit isn't just about sleep. It's about survival mode. Your body got so used to stress that even in rest, it stays on high alert. Dr. Matthew Walker, a neuroscientist and sleep expert, explains that poor sleep and trauma are deeply connected because the brain struggles to process emotions when it's not fully at ease. That's why your nightmares feel so real. They're your mind's way of trying to work through what happened. The key isn't to fight them, but to find ways to calm your nervous system. Try journaling before bed, practicing deep breathing, or listening to something soothing. The past might still visit in your dreams, but with time, it won't have the same power over your mornings. Now, let's continue to number 4. You keep replaying conversations you had with others? Why does every conversation feel like a test you have to grade afterward? If you constantly replay conversations in your head, analyzing every word, every pause, and every possible hidden meaning, that's not just overthinking. It's a survival tactic you picked up from dealing with narcissistic abuse. When you've been criticized, gaslighted, or made to feel like your words were never quite right, your brain learns to self-monitor on overdrive. Dr. Carol McBride, author of Will I Ever Be Good Enough?, explains that children and partners of narcissists often develop an excessive need to seek approval, fearing that anything they say or do could lead to rejection or punishment. Even when the narcissist is gone, that habit lingers, making you second-guess whether you were too blunt, too passive, or if someone secretly took offense to something harmless you said. But here's the thing. Healthy conversations don't need post-game analysis. The constant replays aren't helping you improve. They're just keeping you trapped in self-doubt. Dr. Ethan Kross, author of Chatter, describes this as negative mental chatter that masquerades as problem-solving, but actually drains your confidence. The more you analyze, the less you trust yourself. The next time your mind starts rewinding a conversation, ask yourself, would I be picking this apart if I truly believed in my worth? If the answer is no, then let it go. Your words don't need to be perfect, only honest. Finally, we're down to number 5. You constantly check the fridge to ensure you won't run out of supply. Why do you check the fridge like it holds the secrets of the universe? If you find yourself constantly opening the fridge, not out of hunger but to make sure you have enough food, that's not just a habit. It's a response to past instability. Narcissistic abuse often creates an environment where resources, including food, are used as control. Maybe you were guilt-tripped for eating too much, shamed for needing basic things, or made to feel like you had to earn the right to be cared for. Dr. Lindsay Gibson, author of Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents, explains that people raised in unpredictable or emotionally neglectful households develop deep-seated fears about scarcity, even when resources are available. That fear doesn't just go away when your circumstances change. It lingers, making you check and recheck as if running out of something means losing security itself. But here's the thing. Safety isn't just about what's in your fridge. It's about what's in your mind. The constant checking is your nervous system trying to reassure itself. But true reassurance doesn't come from staring at a full shelf of groceries. Psychologist Dr. Nicole LePera notes that healing from survival mode means teaching yourself that you are safe, even when you're not constantly monitoring your environment. Instead of letting old fears dictate your actions, try reminding yourself, I have enough. I am safe. I can always get what I need. Because the truth is, you're not living in the past anymore, and you don't have to act like you are. If you recognize these habits in yourself, don't panic. It just means you've been through something that changed the way you see the world. Just because you learn these habits doesn't mean you have to keep them. Healing takes time, but every small step helps you unlearn the damage. And one day, you'll look back and realize the person who hurt you no longer has control over how you live your life. That's when you'll know you've truly broken free.